think one of the greatest moves that we've seen so far yet on the campaign trail, and it's tough to even say. I mean, with 5 days left, who knows what else we might see. But you have that garbage remark, really, and it's the media seizing on it to try and use it against Trump. And then Joe Biden, of course, it's a comedian who used this term and says this about lots of groups. That's what comedians do. But in 24 hours, Joe Biden ended up calling all Trump voters garbage. Then his White House had to try to put out a statement with an extra apostrophe. We explained all of that yesterday. And by the time President Trump was landing in his next campaign stop, he was getting off Trump Force One and going right to a pristine garbage truck with a Trump banner on it. He put his orange vest on and, again, did an entire press conference from up on the truck.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. I just wanted to let you know that 250 million people, that's what I think the real number is for making America great again. 250 million, the real number. They don't think in terms of garbage, okay? They don't use terms like that, and it's a shame. And Joe Biden should be ashamed of himself if he knows what he's even doing. And she should be ashamed because she shouldn't let him do it. She's the vice president, but I assume she's acting as the president. She should never have let that happen. I hope you enjoyed this garbage truck. Thank you very much.
Force the press to cover it that way, and then decides later on at the rally he was doing to continue to wear the vest. Again, you're able to be serious at the same time, poke fun at your opponents close to Election Day, while some states are still allowing early voting today and others are allow it through Election Day, really, and others are starting to close. This is a turnout time. You're past the time, really, on, again, serious issues, because you know where the candidates stand on that. Even Harris, who doesn't like telling you or explaining those issues to you, you can try and figure it out, at least from what Joe Biden's done and from what she said, kind of. Okay, we know she wants to raise taxes. We know she's going to be, her foreign policy is going to be very scattered. But so this is a time that you want to get attention and reach people who are questioning whether or not it's worth going to vote and go vote for you. And I think, Will, what we saw yesterday was probably, if Donald Trump wins, this was the moment that it was over. It was when they had this moment to try to seize on him with the comment, and instead it backfires because of what Joe Biden did. And in the midst of that, Donald Trump, you got Vivek Ramaswamy doing a trash round, and it did not, by the way, look like they were just doing it for the images. They were treating people kindly, or actually interested. And that's because the Republican Party now, Will, it's very clear to me now, with the orange vest on, and a guy who's been to a lot of construction sites and worn a hard hat many times, as Trump has, they're comfortable in the blue-collar world, and they also aren't afraid to encourage more growth in the blue-collar world, that America got too obsessed with 4-year degrees, and instead of saying, hey, if you like working with your hands, you can make six figures, you can have a middle-class lifestyle, provide for your family, and you don't have to have these debts of going to 4-year schools to do women's studies degrees.
That's right. And I think I have a quote I'm going to read for you. This is from an article in New York Magazine. And this is from an anonymous TV executive said this. And I think it is so true and explains where we're at right now and how the elites in D.C. and in the media don't get half the country, because it says if half the country has decided that Trump is qualified to be president, that means they're not reading any of this media, and we've lost this audience completely. A Trump victory means mainstream media is dead in its current form. It's so true, but at the same time so tone deaf, because they don't understand that they're the ones that abandoned in the Fourth Estate and all their grandiose buildings. They abandoned half the country and don't know how to talk to them. And they're upset because they're not reading their newspapers.
Yeah. And when you can own a news cycle so quickly and turn it around to where Harris was going to make, obviously had this huge speech plan. We didn't even talk about it yesterday. We're not even talking about it today. And the fact that Donald Trump, he explained, I think we have the bite. And he explained it last night at the rally. The whole story he builds into being on the plane, the garbage truck, and how he ends up in the orange vest. Can we play it for everybody? Let's do it.
I'm in this beautiful plane. I'm enjoying myself. I have a wonderful suit on. And one of my people came in and said, "Sir, you know, the word garbage is the hottest thing right now out there. The hottest thing out there. Sir, would you like to drive a garbage truck?" Now, we're about, 30 minutes from landing. We had to do this pretty quick. I said, "It's sort of cool, though, isn't it? Because, And I said, I think that's okay, but, I don't feel comfortable wearing a suit." And they pulled up this garbage truck. I don't know how the hell they did it so fast. I have very capable people. They put a big sign on the truck. Did you see it? I think they showed it.
So, I think, again, he concocts the whole moment for you. I don't know if I should do this. I'm in this suit. It's a beautiful suit. And how am I going to put this orange vest on and get up in this really tall truck? And that's going to be a whole thing. And by the time he lands, he's got the vest on, jacket off, and he's climbing up in the truck. And then he's talking down to the reporters who are having to talk up to it. And it's just, again, this is imagery. It is risky in politics. It is, your campaign there's always somebody with these ideas. And you have to know yourself well enough to know if you can pull it off. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the person sitting there. You're going to be the one talking to the press. It's either going to look and be one of those really key, awesome moments, or it could be the end. You can really, it is very risky. But Donald Trump is able to talk to people. He is not faking that he's some blue-collar guy. He's obviously a multi-billionaire from New York building, high-rises. But because of that work that he does, of course, you don't get to build high-rises if the labor union doesn't come out and the construction guys and the sanitation guys aren't there and the streets don't look so good if they're not picking up the trash. And so you have to have all of that go into play and you have to respect it. And I think he does. I think that that's good for our country too. And it's good for whole generations of our country who think that, okay, wait, I have to go to liberal arts degrees and what am I going to do with this liberal arts degree? I don't know. And so, but I've got all that $100,000 in debt now or more. And now I need to get a master's in what so I can do what job, where that I don't even like doing. I don't want to be at a desk. And yet we've got all these other jobs where you can actually make more money early and make decisions about your life. If that's a job that you want to do, we shouldn't be, we've been downplaying them in America. It's kind of, and saying, we don't, those jobs are not worth it for Americans anymore. And I think that the Harris and Biden, it's all that, because they constantly are talking about, I came from bad, and they don't tell you the fact that, their moms are researchers at universities and things like that at, Berkeley. But I do think when we see these moments, even those who are not on the Trump train, but are just being honest about the election, I think Frank Luntz is one of those people for CNN. They've got to be honest at this point. 5 days out, you'd look foolish if you said this was disastrous.
That's right. I think that we should play this. This is from Frank Luntz. He's a longtime pollster, kind of moved away from, he was kind of the Republican pollster, but moved a little bit away from that because of the Trump era. But I think he is honest when he gives his opinion about polls. That's kind of his world he lives in. Yep. And this is a very interesting bite. This was on CNN just yesterday. Let's go ahead and play bite 9.
Because it reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. He's been gaining and gaining. The momentum, I don't know who's going to win. I can't call it, and nobody should, because statistically and polling and focus groups, it is way too close to call. However, the momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor. And so every word, every phrase, every misstep, every gaffe matters as those last remaining persuadables make their decision. I don't believe in the undecided anymore. I don't believe there's undecided.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I agree that at this point, if you're a serious voter, you likely have already voted, if you can. So if you're in a state that does have early voting, which many do now, most do, and it's in person, so it's the same as if you vote on Election Day. In our state where we are broadcasting from, this is the final day, and you can get in there. There's a lot of different options for you, and you can get in till, I think it's till 7 o'clock at night, just like a normal Election Day. Then it stops and you go to Election Day voting. And who you're really targeting then is not people who don't know who they're going to support. It's people who aren't sure if they need to go vote. or they may not be as fired up. They may not be paying as close attention. I mean, times are tough in a lot of places. Jobs are, people are working 2 jobs, 3 jobs sometimes. You've got kids running around and holidays and all of that. And so you go into this weekend and you want to focus in on people who are going to vote for you, but that you've got to get out.